Hey guys, and welcome to my second video in the Harpie Deck Strategy. Today's video we're going to be looking at every Harpie player's favourite card and every Harpie opponent's most hated card, and that is Hysteric Sign. In this video I'm going to be telling you the best combos for Hysteric Sign and just how to make the best use of it, because obviously no doubt it is Harpie's best card and it is kind of what dictates whether a Harpie deck wins or loses. So first, for those of you that don't know about the card, it basically has two functions. Its first function is that it can search an Elegant Egotist from the deck or graveyard, which basically turns one Harpie Lady into two, to give you that easy rank 4 XYZ play. Its second function is probably the big one, the most important one, which is when it's destroyed or sent from the hand or field to the grave, during the end phase you can search out 3 Harpie cards and add them to your hand. You can't activate both effects during the same turn, but you can activate one or the other. So obviously the first effect, Elegant Egotist, is pretty standard. Generally speaking, I hardly use Hysteric Sign for that purpose, hence why I only run one Elegant Egotist. It's much better if you're going to go into a rank 4, just to simply use Harpie Channeler's effect to ditch a Harpie to bring out another Harpie. You want to really keep Hysteric Sign for its second effect, and basically that is to add the resources to your hand to make your big plays. Okay, so a standard play to get your Hysteric Sign search off really quickly would be to simply activate Harpie's Hunting Ground, set it, and then summon a Harpie monster and send Hysteric Sign to the grave. That way, even if they Veela your Channeler, you're still going to have your 3 searches during the end phase, and it's still going to give you that search power. So just remember guys, Harpie's Hunting Ground, you can destroy your own spell and traps as well. So always remember that when you've got a Hysteric Sign in your hand, and you have the opportunity to get rid of it, whether it be through Harpie Dancer being able to destroy one of your cards and then one of your opponents. And just remember, you have got that option of Harpie's Hunting Ground. Okay, so another spell card that works great with Hysteric Sign is Mystical Space Typhoon. I don't personally run it this format, just because I feel Harpie's Hunting Ground takes care of enough of the opponent's spell and traps. However, always remember you can use Mystical Space Typhoon on your own Hysteric Sign. So say for instance, a play I do quite often is simply set Hysteric Sign, and then hope that on your opponent's turn either blind MST it or they try get rid of it, thus giving you your 3 searches. However, if your opponent doesn't do that, during their end phase, obviously activate Mystical Space Typhoon, destroy your own Hysteric Sign, and then grab your 3 searches during the end phase. So obviously Summon a Monk does have great synergy with Hysteric Sign, so I'm going to give it a mention. They work really well together. Obviously discard Sign for his effect. However, you do have to rely on his summon to go through, whereas things like Harpie's Hunting Ground and MST are just a lot faster, and they'll let you get your 3 searches off quickly, as opposed to relying on having Monk in hand. Okay, so now I'm going to look at trap cards, as that's where I feel you can abuse Hysteric Sign the most. First mention is for Magical Hats. Obviously this card does have its gimmicks, like your opponent has to attack and you do have to have a monster on the field. However, it's great first turn play, and it's just a great card to have in general. Most opponents don't expect to see Magical Hats. Obviously it is vulnerable to MST and other sort of popping cards, so that's its downside. But when you get a Magical Hats off, obviously you send Hysteric Sign and you combo that with cards like Skill Prisoner, which can protect your monsters from stuff like Veela. Another pretty good trap card in Harpies is Icarus Attack. You don't have to obviously destroy just your opponent's cards, and you can destroy 2 cards on the field, so you can obviously during the end phase tribute your Harpie, destroy an opponent's card as well as your sign, and get your searches off. Okay, another card that works great with it is Hysteric Party. During the end phase of your opponent's turn, discard Sign for Hysteric Party, and get your 3 searches, and then during your turn you've got field full of Harpies, as well as all the 3 that you've searched out. And then my personal favourite is Phoenix Wind Blast. It just combos really great with the card, given the ability to bounce a card your opponent controls to the top of the deck. It can give them dead draws similar to Chidori, and it still gives you your advantage of being able to search through your 3 Harpie cards. You can also run things like Rajiki Break, which does the same sort of effect, but I find that bouncing a card back to the top of the deck is more effective, as there are a lot of decks this format that rely on their graves having certain monsters in it. Okay, so I'm just going to end the video looking at what Harpie cards to choose, because I'm sure there's a few beginners here that might be thinking, well, which Harpie cards do I actually choose? Because we do have quite a few choices, but the standard 3 that I always personally pick is Harpie Channeler. This girl basically gets out your XYZ combos, so she's always a must. Harpie Dancer, she's so that if your opponent's got a back row set up, always add her, because you're going to be able to clear their back row with Hunting Ground. So she's good for that. And then third is Queen. Basically she searches out your field spell. If you know your opponent runs 3 MSTs as well as say field spells, it might always be a good idea, instead of, say if you've got a Channeler or a Dancer in hand, it might be a good idea, say if I've already got Channeler, would be to add a Harpie's Hunting Ground, a Dancer and a Harpie Queen. This is just for plays where if you were to activate your Hunting Ground, your opponent immediately MSTs it, meaning you can't then destroy a spell trap. However, if you can then discard Queen for another Hunting Ground, activate it, and then at least you can destroy 1 spell trap with Harpie Dancer's effect. So in summary guys, Hysteric Sign, it does have 2 effects, but generally we want to be looking at getting its second effect as much as possible, because that is what determines whether a Harpie deck wins or loses. And today I've told you about probably the quickest ways that you can do that, through destroying it through your own Hunting Ground, or through the use of effective trap cards like Hysteric Party and Phoenix Wind Blast. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think, like, comment and subscribe, and stay tuned for some more Harpie Deck Strategy videos.